This is Atlantic Television Network. Welcome to Global News. First, the highlights. Court to hear suits against PDP chairman April 14. Soludo sworn in for second term in office. Tinubu mourns Maiduguri bomb blast victims. Inflation hits 12.12% on households. Cuba earthquake magnitude hits 5.8. The Tigers captain Ogoke retires from national team. Comedians richer than musicians shank. Welcome back, and now to the rest of our stories. River State High Court, sitting in Port Harcourt, has fixed the 14th of April 2026 to hear all pending motions in a suit filed by 3 aggrieved members of the People's Democratic Party in River State against the state chairman of PDP, Aaron Chukwuemeka, and River State Independent Electoral Commission, RISIEC. Other respondents in the matter are PDP River State Government, Obiakpo Local Government Council, Port Harcourt City, and Ogba Egbemam Indoni Local Government Councils. The vice chairman and the councillors, the claimants, Enyi Uchechukwu, Wisdom Kalio, and Uche Amadi, in an originating summons, are asking the court to determine whether Aaron Chukwuemeka led state executive whose congresses that brought them have been nullified can validly submit list of candidates to RISEC for the just concluded LGA elections by virtue of the judgment of the River State High Court delivered against their emergence. The claimants also want the court to determine, amongst other reliefs, whether the People's Democratic Party has presented a valid list of candidates to RISEC through Aaron Chukwuemeka as to enable the candidates to have taken part in August 30th, 2025 council elections. And when the matter came up in court, councillors to the PDP, Obiakpo, Onega, and Port Harcourt City local government areas, who are senior advocates of Nigeria, informed the court that they were served the processes on Friday, March 13, and asked for time to reply on point of law. The oral applications were not opposed by the claimants' counsel, Glory Chizim Chinda, and presiding judge, while Justice Stephen Jumbo Ajonti, 14th of April 2026, to hear all pending motions and possible ruling before going into the substantive matter. Teachers and local government workers who retired in 2012 in Edo State are set to receive their gratuity 14 years after retirement. This follows the release of 1 billion naira by the Edo State Governor Monday Okpebelo for payment of gratuity to the affected teachers and local government workers. The chairman of the Local Government Staff Pension Bureau, Ajo Tokabiru, said the payment was the first tranche of gratuity disbursement for retired teachers and local government workers. Speaking at the press briefing in Benin City, Ajo Tok commended Okpebelo for his commitment to the welfare of workers and retirees, adding that the government has demonstrated strong political will in confronting long-standing challenges affecting pensioners and retirees in the state. Ajuto thanks the retirees for their patience, understanding, and continued faith in government despite delays over the years, stressing that the responsibility comes with a significant financial burden on the government due to the significant increase in the number of retirees and the consequential financial burden arising from successive minimum wage increases. Anambra State Governor Professor Chukwuma Soludo has been sworn in for a second term in office, and the swearing-in ceremony took place at Dr. Alex Equipment Square in Awka in the presence of a wide range of guests from within and outside the state. Soludo arrived at the venue in the company of top dignitaries including Vice President Kashim Shettima and former Presidents Olusegun Obasanjo and Goodluck Jonathan. The event was also attended by elder statesmen like former Secretary General of the Commonwealth, Chief Emeka Ayoku, and prominent traditional ruler Oni of Ife, Oba Adeyeye Ogunwusi, while Soludo took the oath of allegiance at exactly 11:50 and proceeded to take the oath of office, which took about 5 minutes. He was accompanied by his wife, Dr. Mrs. Noya Soludo, who stood beside her husband as he took both oaths, and quickly proceeded to sign the oath in the presence of the Chief Judge of the state, and the event marks the beginning of his second term in office, which terminates in 2030. Anambra State Police Command has detained 6 officers of the Okpokpo Police Division in Onitsha over the alleged extortion of 200,000 naira from a victim through a point-of-sale operator. Their detention followed a viral video in which the wife of the victim narrated how her husband, a drink seller, was allegedly harassed, handcuffed, and forced to part with money after being stopped by some policemen who, while returning from the relief market where he had gone to purchase drinks with his boss. According to the victim's wife in the trending video, her husband was intercepted under the Upper Iweka flyover by the officers, who demanded the vehicle's documents, which she said he presented and were found to be valid, and alleged that despite the documents being in order, the officers questioned why the bus was painted white and directed him to meet their oga inside their petrol vehicle. The woman further claimed that when her husband approached the vehicle, the officers allegedly surrounded him, handcuffed him, seized his phone, and drove him to an unknown destination where he was accused of being a thief and pressured to pay 500,000 naira for his release. She said the victim was frightened and confused during the incident and was eventually forced to transfer 200,000 naira through a POS operator allegedly invited by the officers before he was released. Reacting to the development, the Anambra State Police Command confirmed that it had intercepted the video and commenced an investigation, while the command's spokesperson SP Tochukwu Ikenga said the Commissioner of Police in the state, CP Kyoye Olutugu, had ordered the detention of the 6 officers allegedly involved pending the outcome of ongoing investigations. Management of Plateau University Bokos has sanctioned 76 students caught engaging in examination malpractice. A statement issued on Tuesday in Jos by the acting public relations officer of the university, Mr. Masara Kim, said the action was approved by the university Senate during its 1 and 2nd regular meeting, chaired by the Deputy Vice Chancellor Academia of the institution, Professor Moses Galadima. He said the decision followed a report presented to the Senate by its Committee on Examination Misconduct, while the affected students committed the offenses during the 2nd semester examination for the 2024 and 2025 academic session. Kim also said the management could reaffirm the university's zero tolerance for examination malpractice, stressing that the Vice Chancellor of the institution, Professor Shadrach Best, had over time emphasized the university's commitment to integrity, discipline, and sound moral values. Leaders of the All Progressives Congress in Ondo State have commended Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa for advancing infrastructural development across the 18 local government areas of the state. The party leaders, under the umbrella of the concerned grassroots leaders in Ondo APC, warned litigants not to distract the governor with court cases, noting that Aiyedatiwa had not declared an intention to contest for a 2nd term, but had faced legal challenges. A judgment of the Federal High Court, as sitting in Akure last week, halted the purported ambition of the governor to seek re-election, adding that he had never announced any plan to contest. Speaking with journalists in Akure on Monday, the convener of the group, Chief Babajide Akinwolere, said Aiyedatiwa had demonstrated commitment, stability, and purposeful leadership in steering the affairs of the state and should not be distracted by unnecessary litigation. Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has dismissed claims of recurrent banditry in Abuja, asserting that the city remains secure and that the security agencies are effectively tackling crime. He acknowledged incidents of crime but insisted that reports of banditry were exaggerated and commended the dedication of security agencies and called for public recognition of their efforts. The threats followed a series of kidnappings and attacks, including the rescue of 19 victims by troops of the 7th Guards Brigade, Nigerian Army, supported by police and vigilantes, while the FCT Police Command has dismissed reports alleging that suspected bandits issued a threat letter to attack communities in the territory. The police described the reports as the handiwork of mischief makers seeking to cause panic, while the alleged threat was in retaliation for the killing of a bandit commander during a recent security operation conducted by the police anti-kidnapping unit in collaboration with personnel of the 7th Guards Battalion of the Guards Brigade. A statement by the police public relations officer SP Josephine Ade said investigations revealed that the letter did not originate from bandits but from individuals attempting to create fear in the affected communities, and further urged the residents of Kuganboku and neighboring Paze community, both located within the FCC, to disregard the letter and remain calm. In a move to preserve the FCT master plan, the Minister of Federal Capital Territory, Barrister Nyesom Wike, has visited a site in the Guzape district where a designated green area was being illegally converted into a residential estate and ordered its immediate demolition. The FCT Minister will give the order during a routine inspection of critical infrastructure projects, one that his administration would not tolerate lawlessness or the collusion of civil servants with developers and land grabbing schemes.
This place was given as a grid area, but for what we have seen now, they want to develop it to an estate, which is a violation. And this is the kind of things we have always complained about. People will use different strategies to get land from government. At the end of the day, they will do a different thing. So we have to demolish it. And we are also going to withdraw the whatever approval he has, because it was not given to him to develop estate. It was for green area, either passive or active recreation, but not an estate. And nobody would allow that. So you are with us the other day when we went to where embassies lands were given. Somebody, of course, believing that nothing will happen, has gone there to take embassy's land. And we have demolished the buildings and we're waiting to the embassy that they can go back and develop their land. But that's what we are supposed to do. And what most of us will do now is to rush to court and find one court that will delay the matter, believing that, oh, the minister will go. When he goes, we can come back and settle with those who settle with them in the land administration. It's quite unfortunate, but we'll do our work. We will not know who's involved. Always our interest is do the right thing.
The minister also said the law must be obeyed to maintain the integrity of the city, regardless of any attempts to use court delays as a strategy.
All of us know an armed robber cannot go to a place where there are no people linking the armed robber. There must be somebody very close. Kidnappers don't also go to just say, I kidnap somebody. There must be an informant. So it's not far from the fact that, yes, they have collaborations between the various departments. Okay, take for example, we're talking about the embassies. First of all, for the royal control to give you approval of building, you must show ownership. And that ownership is CFO. But you can find out that there's no CFO. How did they approve the building? So these are the kind of problems we have. You have multifaceted problems, you don't know where to start from. But that should not deter us. Well, we want to do what we think is right, and we're not going to, look away because of the fact that, civil servants are involved. Well, it's not only civil servants. Even you as an individual, why do you want to go and perpetrate that? I mean, it's not allowed. So you should not go and lure the civil servants to be part of crime. But it's unfortunate for such a civil servant, knowing the kind of duty imposed on him or her. But we'll go and see that. I mean, isn't it very funny that every city has a master plan? How this area is going to look like, how the area is going to look like. But here, it's just that nobody obeys anything. And so we will do our best to see that while we're here, the laws are obeyed.
During the tour, the minister expressed high satisfaction with the pace of ongoing projects slated for inauguration during President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's third-year anniversary.
Kasara, where we're doing some roads that will link up the New Hope cities and Kubwa. We did say, and the contractors also promised us that, by the grace of God, that the project will be completed and inaugurated in the President's third-year anniversary. So in our usual routine work to go and check whether the contractors are keeping up to time so that we don't need to be surprised by anybody. Of course, I'm very happy with what we saw, what Lubricks have done, and it's very obvious that that road will be inaugurated. Then we moved to N16. You saw the interchange linking to Jahi and Guarimpa. It's very wonderful, and they were done by CBC. And they've also promised that by the end of May, that project will also be handed over. Airport Junction, or Airport Road to Kuje, which is done by Arab contractors. Again, you can see they are launching the final beam of the final bridge, and they have said that obviously by the end of May, that road would have been done. That also moved from Kuje, linking to Gwagwalada. You remember that 2021 when we came on board, one of the first road we did was the realization from the Leah Junction to where we now started the garage. and we completed that, and then we're now doing from that to Gwagwarada, which is about 13 point something kilometer, which is also carried out by Gilmore. The roads are divided into two segments. The first segment will take about 6.5 to 7 kilometers, and then the second segment will also take about 6.5 kilometers.
Kaduna State Governor Obasani has commenced the construction of a 36-kilometer Bagoma-Gagumi road in Benin-Gwari local government area, which will benefit 66 farming communities in the area council. The managing director of the Kaduna State Roads Agency, Abdullahi Ahmed, who disclosed this during an inspection visit to the ongoing project, described the governor's road development initiative as transformative, adding that when completed, the Bagoma-Gagumi road would surpass the recently inaugurated Gayan-Gwaraji Kujama road, which currently ranks among the longest roads constructed by the administration. The earlier 35-kilometer road cuts across 3 local government areas, Igabi, Kajuru, and Chikun local government areas, and includes a 130-meter bridge, adding that the Bagoma-Gagumi road would significantly improve the socio-economic conditions of residents in Benin-Gwari, stressing that 66 farming communities would benefit directly from the project. He also said Benin-Gwari is one of Nigeria's leading maize-producing local government areas, and that the new road would ease the transportation of farm produce to urban markets. Ahmed further said the Bagoma-Gagumi Road project was being executed by CGC Nigeria Limited, an international construction company known for delivering large-scale infrastructure projects, including roads, bridges, and water supply systems. And although the project was scheduled for completion by the end of the year, the contractor had assured the state government of earlier delivery. Residents of Kotaho and Kuki local communities in Arabi ward of Kagago local government area have raised alarm over the continued captivity of 32 villagers abducted by suspected bandits more than a month after the attack. Excuse me. Community members said the kidnappers have demanded a 30 million naira and 4 motorcycles as ransom for the victims' release. This is coming after the villagers were reportedly abducted during a midnight raid on February 9 when armed men stormed the farming communities, firing gunshots and forcing residents out of their homes before taking dozens of people to an unknown location. The youth leader of Kotaho community, Adam Solomon, said the incident has forced many residents to flee their homes for fear of further attacks, and the area lacks telecommunications network coverage, making it difficult to reach security agencies during emergencies. Chairman of the Christian Association of Nigeria, Khan in Arabi Ward, Reverend John Mai said reported attacks have disrupted farming activities in the communities, which depend largely on agriculture. The spokesperson of the Nigeria Police Command in Kaduna State is yet to respond to inquiries on the incident. Troops of the Nigerian Army have foiled terrorist activities and recovered an AK-47 rifle during separate operations in Katsina State. A post shared on X on Monday by security analyst Zagazola Makama said the operations took place in Kankara and Malum Fashi local government areas, where troops engaged suspected terrorists at different locations. In a separate operation in area, troops responded to intelligence or terrorist activities at Ruwan Sanyi village on March 14, while the troops engaged the terrorists who fled with suspected gunshot wounds as bloodstains were seen around the area. During a follow-up search, the troops recovered an AK-47 rifle loaded with 17 rounds of 7.62 millimeter special ammunition. United Nations Students Fund has handed over nutrition commodities worth about 600 million naira to the Bauchi State government to support the treatment and prevention of malnutrition among children, and the items include ready-to-use therapeutic food and small quantity lipid-based nutrient supplements procured through the Child Nutrition Fund. Speaking during the handover ceremony in Bauchi, the chief of UNICEF Bauchi Field Office, Dr. Nuzhat Rafiq, said the supplies are aimed at addressing severe and moderate malnutrition among children, adding that Bauchi remains one of the states with a high burden of child malnutrition, while stressing the need for improved nutrition practices at the household level. She said the commodities were procured through a matching grant arrangement where The Bauchi state government contributed 300 million naira, which was matched with another 300 million naira by the Child Nutrition Fund through UNICEF, making the total value of the supply 600 million naira. She called for urgent mobilization of resources to support displaced Bauchi residents currently in camps, stressing that about 200 cartons of RUTF and 100 cartons of SQLNS will be required to address the immediate needs of malnourished children there. Rafiq further commended the Bauchi state government for pledging 500 million naira for child nutrition interventions in 2026, expressing optimism that the amount would also be matched by the Child Nutrition Fund. 23 persons have been confirmed dead, while 108 sustained varying degrees of injuries following bomb explosions that simultaneously rocked 3 village locations in Maiduguri, Borno State, and the locations include the post office flyover area, Maiduguri Monday Market, and the University of Maiduguri Teaching Hospital. The spokesman for the Borno State Police Command, ASP Nahum Daso, confirmed the death toll in a statement on Tuesday, said the investigation was still ongoing to further ascertain the circumstances surrounding the incident. Daso also said, following the incident, a combined team of police tactical units, the military, and other security operatives were swiftly deployed to the affected areas, while the State Commissioner of Police, Naziru Abdul Maji, visited the affected locations to conduct an on-the-spot assessment of the situation and evaluate ongoing response efforts. He said victims were promptly evacuated by emergency responders, including the National Emergency Management Agency and the State Emergency Management Agency, to medical facilities where they were receiving treatment. The police spokesman urged members of the public to remain calm, vigilant, and to promptly report any suspicious movement or objects to the nearest security agency. National Commission for Emergency and Out-of-School Children Education has distributed 600 bags of rice to Islamic scholars and Sangaya schools in Jigawa State as part of Ramadan palliatives. The distribution was facilitated through the Office of the Special Advisor to the President on Political and Other Matters, Ibrahim Masari, took place at the NUJ Secretariat, Duse, the Jigawa State's capital, as part of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's Renewed Hope agenda aimed at easing hardship during the fasting period. Speaking during the distribution, the Commission's Executive Secretary, Dr. Mohammed Sani Idris, said the gesture underscores the present administration's dedication to supporting those who dedicate their lives to Islamic education. The Executive Secretary, represented at the event by the Jigawa State Coordinator, Abubakar Elman, reaffirmed the Commission's commitments to the welfare of Sangaya teachers and out-of-school children, adding that the gesture underscores the present administration's dedication to supporting those who dedicate their lives to Islamic education. The beneficiaries were included Alamas and representatives from various Sangaya schools across the state, prayed for the continued success of the President and the leadership of the Commission. You're watching the Global News on Atlantic Television Network. We'll be back after this break. Welcome back. This is the Global News on Atlantic Television Network, and now to the rest of our stories. President Bola Tinubu and First Lady Senator Oluremi Tinubu have arrived at Stansted Airport on Tuesday afternoon, marking the start of the landmark state visit to the United Kingdom. The Airbus A330 conveying the President and the First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, left the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport. A statement by the Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, said the President and the First Lady will be guests of King Charles III and Queen Camilla at Windsor Castle from March 18 to 19. And President Tinubu is also the first Nigerian leader to be hosted by the British monarch at Windsor Castle. The visit will feature a state banquet hosted by the royal family in honor of the Nigerian guests and private discussions between the King and the President. And their majesties will invite President Tinubu and the wife, lady, to view a special exhibition of items from the royal collection related to Nigeria. The King and the President will also meet with organizations engaged in interfaith dialogue, both nationally and internationally, as well as hold a bilateral meeting with Prime Minister Keir Starmer at 10 Downing Street, which will lead to expanded bilateral engagement between senior officials of both countries. The meeting will culminate in the signing of various memoranda of understanding and agreements, including those on trade, investments, defense, and cultural cooperation. And President Tinubu is expected to return to Nigeria at the conclusion of the state visit. President Bola Tinubu has commiserated with the people of Borno State following the recent terrorist attacks in Maiduguri, describing the incident as desperate attempts by insurgents to instill fear. A statement on X on Tuesday, the President expressed grief over the loss of lives and extended sympathy to the injured and affected families, assuring residents of the federal government's commitment to restoring security, adding that the attacks were a sign of increased pressure on terrorist groups by Nigerian security forces. The President reaffirmed his administration's resolve to intensify operations against insurgents across the country and also commended security operatives for repelling coordinated attacks on military positions in the state, describing their response as courageous. The President also said additional support had been approved to strengthen ongoing operations and had directed security chiefs to relocate to Maiduguri to oversee operations, while emergency agencies had been mobilized to assist victims. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Army has raised the alarm over the possible deployment of multiple suicide bombers into Maiduguri by suspected Boko Haram terrorists, urging residents to avoid crowded areas. While the warning followed Monday's coordinated attacks, which reportedly claimed 23 lives and left 108 others injured. President Bola Tinubu has ordered security chiefs to relocate to Maiduguri, Borno State capital, and take charge of the security situation amidst recent terror attacks. The President also vowed that his administration would continue to intensify efforts against all criminal elements wherever they may be. A statement on Tuesday in Abuja, President Tinubu said the recent news from Maiduguri is profoundly upsetting and expressed grief over those who lost their lives, sympathized with the injured, and said he stands in solidarity with the people of Borno State during this challenging time. He recalled that just last weekend during a security meeting with leaders of security and intelligence agencies, he approved additional equipment and operational support to enhance their capabilities. Senators cleared former lawmaker representing the River Southeast Senatorial District Magnus Ade for appointment as chairman of the board of the Nigerian Petroleum Regulatory Commission. Abe, a political ally of the Federal Council, has spoken by the Senate Committee on Petroleum Resources upstream before receiving the approval of lawmakers. The committee, chaired by Senator Eteng Jonah Williams, who represents Cross River Central Senatorial District, screened nominees forwarded by President Bola Tinubu for appointment as chairman and non-executive commissioners of the commission, and in line with the Senate's tradition for former lawmakers appearing for confirmation, Abe was asked to take a bow and go, having served 2 terms in the National Assembly.
I will commend Mr. President for the choice. They are industry players, the 3 of them. We've not seen anybody that has not worked even in NUPROC, then DPR. So they have good knowledge. For us, they are regulators. They are going to regulate us well in the industry. I feel so, if confirmed. Because you will hear from us, the Senate, in our next meeting. I won't give verdict here because this is not the entire Senate. The entire Senate will give that verdict. But for you, I would say congratulations so far. And anything you're doing, you should also remember that Nigerians are watching. Nigerians want to listen to you to see a change. As a regulator, you know what that means. And as the board controlling the management, you have to definitely put in your input, your experience. This is the time we need it to play. You've worked there 25, 35 years, 30 years, 40 years. It won't help us if you don't use it now. That is why Mr. President appointed you.
Speaking with journalists shortly after his appearance before the committee, Abe said the surge in global oil prices triggered by tensions involving Iran and the United States present both challenges and opportunities for Nigeria, adding that the escalating global crisis on Nigeria's fuel price situation as a worldwide challenge rather than a purely Nigerian problem. According to him, while the conflict has pushed up the cost of fuel and created hardship for Nigerians, the increase in oil prices could also translate into higher national revenues. He called for global prayers for an end to the conflict, noting that beyond the economic implications, the crisis was claiming human lives.
Well, I think that this is a very, very difficult time for the entire planet. It's not a Nigerian challenge, it's a global challenge. And I believe that Nigeria is in a far better position to ride out this storm than a lot of other countries. Because you must look at the balancing act. Prices will definitely be affected, but revenues from our oil sales will also be positively affected. So I believe that there will be some measure of balance in what will happen, because at some point it may be important for us as a country and as citizens of our country to realize that we're part of a global community and there are things that we cannot escape no matter how hard we try. Our prayers should be, we're talking about people, oil and prices, but as we speak now, human beings are actually dying. I think that all our prayers should be that as quickly as possible, this conflict, which in my opinion is unnecessary and harmful to the entire world, should be quickly brought to an end so that we can all begin to recover. But I enjoin Nigerians to also understand that a time of great challenges is also a time of great opportunity. Don't always only look at the bad side, but always balance your views, because challenges are also opportunities.
The 2023 governorship candidate of the Social Democratic Party, however, urged Nigerians to see the situation as an opportunity to strengthen the country's energy sector, particularly in gas development and marginal oil field investment. Abe also expressed gratitude to the president for nominating him to serve on the regulatory bodies board. Speaker of the House of Representatives, Abbas Tajuddin, has expressed grief and condemnation over the deadly suicide bombings that struck Maiduguri, Borno State, killing at least 23 people and injuring 108 others. The bombings targeted crowded civilian areas, including the Monday Market, Post Office area and the entrance to the University of Maiduguri Teaching Hospital, UMTH, around the time of Iftar, when Muslims break their daily fast during the holy month of Ramadan. The Borno State Police Command confirmed 23 people lost their lives and 108 people sustained injuries, while the attacks followed a recent uptick in violence in Borno, including an overnight assault on the military outpost, highlighting the ongoing security challenges despite years of military operations. Earlier, the Nigerian Army raised the alarm over the possible deployment of multiple suicide bombers into Maiduguri by suspected Boko Haram terrorists, urging residents to avoid crowded places. Former presidential candidate Peter Obi has condemned the coordinated suicide bombings in Maiduguri, Borno State, describing the incident as a reflection of worsening insecurity across the country. A statement via his X account on Tuesday said 3 suicide bombings occurred almost simultaneously at the Maiduguri Monday Market, the post office, and an area near the University of Maiduguri Teaching Hospital, resulting in 23 deaths and leaving over 100 others injured, and families have since begun searching for loved ones who were reportedly at the affected locations, following the blasts which killed 23 people and injured 108 others. Reacting further, Obi said the fact that severely innocent Nigerians can be killed in multiple coordinated attacks with over 100 others injured in vulnerable places, like markets and near hospitals, highlights a troubling reality and linked the Maiduguri attack to a broader pattern of insecurity across the country. Calling for urgent leadership response, Obi said moments test not only security architecture, but also the very essence of leadership, and such grave national emergency requires immediate presence, attention, and action. The police have confirmed the attacks, adding that investigations are ongoing to ascertain the circumstances surrounding the incident. Chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor Joash Amopitun-San, says credible elections are crucial to safeguarding Nigeria's national security and strengthening democratic governance. Amopitun made the remark at the Commission's headquarters in Abuja while receiving a delegation from the Alumni Association of the National Institute for Security Studies, led by its President Mike Ejiofor. The visit was part of preparations for the association's second annual lecture titled Credible Elections and National Security in Nigeria, while the INEC chairman described the theme of the lecture as timely and important, stressing that the credibility of elections has a direct impact on peace and stability in the country. Amopitun commended the Institute for its contributions to strengthening Nigeria's security architecture through the training of senior officers across the armed forces, the intelligence community, and regulatory agencies, and also reaffirmed the Commission's commitment to working closely with security institutions to guarantee successful electoral processes. Earlier in his remarks, the Institute President Ejiofor stressed the need for stronger engagement between the electoral body and security professionals, particularly as preparations gradually begin ahead of the 2027 general elections. Nigerian Bar Association has condemned an alleged courtroom incident involving Justice Mohammed Umar, describing the reported directive for a lawyer to kneel as inconsistent with judicial standards and dignity of the legal profession. The incident occurred during proceedings in a case involving Showore, who is being prosecuted by the Department of State Services over alleged cyber-related offenses. According to the report, the presiding judge warned the defense counsel over his tone while making submissions and at a point ordered him to come out and kneel down in open court, while other lawyers present reportedly intervened, pleading for leniency, after which the judge adjourned the matter and rose for the delay. The association, in a statement issued by its president, Afam Osigwe, said it is concerned about reports that the judge ordered Marshal Abubakar, who appeared as lead defense counsel, to activist Omoyele Showore to kneel during proceedings at the Federal High Court in Abuja. According to the NBA, the directive reportedly followed an exchange in court in which the lawyer raised his voice while addressing the judge over the suitability of a hearing date, prompting threats of committal for contempt and adherence to due process. The NBA retreated its commitment to upholding the rule of law, professional standards, and judicial ethics, stressing that it would engage relevant authorities where necessary to ensure that the integrity of the legal system is preserved. Federal High Court in Lagos has struck out an alleged 20 billion naira money laundering charge filed against a retired company director, Taiwo Ibitola, and her firm, Legend Investment Limited. Justice Akintoye's Aluko struck out the charge following an application by the police to withdraw the case, while the defendants had been charged with 4 counts bordering on conspiracy, fraud, conversion, and retention of proceeds of crime preferred against them by the police. When the case first came up on November 13, 2005, for the defendants, arraignment proceedings were stalled due to the absence of both the prosecutor and the defendants, and the court subsequently adjourned the matter to December 16, 2025 for arraignment. However, the court did not sit on that date, leading to a further adjournment until March 16, 2026 for the defendants to take their plea, while the prosecutor of the prosecutor M.Y. Bello informed the court that the prosecution had filed an application dated February 26, 2026, seeking to withdraw the charges against the defendant. Counsel for the defendant, Professor Taiwo Osipiton, did not oppose the application but urged the court to dismiss the case outright to prevent the prosecution from reopening it in the future, while citing Section 108, Paragraph 3 of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act. Osipiton argued that the court had the discretion to acquit the defendant. High Court of the Federal Capital Territory in Maitama, Abuja on Tuesday awarded 500,000 naira in cost against the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission for delaying the trial of the former Central Bank of Nigeria Governor Godwin Emefiele. The trial Judge Hamza Muazu imposed the costs after the prosecution failed to produce its witness at the resumed hearing. Justice Muazu, while granting what he described as a final adjournment, warned the prosecution to ensure the attendance of its witnesses at the next sitting. Emefiele is standing trial on a 20-count amended charge bordering on alleged criminal breach of trust, forgery, abuse of office, conspiracy, and obtaining money by false pretense. Physically challenged, he was among others accused of allegedly obtaining $6.23 million under the guise of funding international election observers for the 2023 general elections, and also accused of conferring corrupt advantages on two firms, April 16 Nigeria Limited and Architectcon Nigeria Limited. At the proceedings, prosecuting counsel Abba Mohammed told the court that the prosecution's witness, a deputy commissioner of police Eloho Edwin Okwoziakio, was absent despite being duly notified, and the defense urged the court to refuse further adjournment. In his ruling, Justice Muazu agreed that the provisions of the ACJA on adjournment were clear, but held that the court retains discretionary powers to grant adjournment in the interest of justice, and the matter was adjourned till April 27 and 28 for the continuation of the trial. Nigerian Railway Corporation has confirmed that 26 passengers and crew members sustained varying degrees of injuries following a train incident along the Abuja-Kaduna Rail corridor. A statement issued on Tuesday via his ex-handle, the managing director of the NRC, Kayode Opeifa, said the incident occurred near Asham station when a loud bang was heard as part of the train formation collision. According to him, the Kaduna-Abuja service KA2 departed the Rigasa station at 7:15 a.m. and arrived Jere station 1 minute ahead of schedule at 8:52 a.m. while the incident occurred between kilometer points 50 and 51 as the train approached Asham station. Providing details of those on board, Opeifa said a total of 481 persons were on the train, including 429 passengers who boarded out of 459 booked, and on board included 10 train crew members, 26 security personnel, 6 food vendors, 8 cleaners, and 2 third-party operators. Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board has invited 94 candidates and some tertiary institutions to appear before separate virtual panels over alleged malpractices during examination, registration, and fake certificates. A statement issued via its ex-handle on Tuesday, the board said the affected candidates include those accused of soliciting or paying for illicit assistance during the 2026 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination Registration Exercise, as well as 2025 direct entry applicants whose institutions have flagged their certificates as fake. JAMB also said the candidates are to appear before a virtual investigation panel scheduled for Wednesday, March 18, 2026 at 10 a.m. While details of the access passcode for the virtual session had been sent to the affected candidates through their registered phone numbers. The board warned that failure to attend the session would be treated as an admission of guilt, while heads of institutions whose certificates were returned as fake, as well as those earlier invited to participate in a separate virtual meeting scheduled for Tuesday, March 17, 2026 at 10 a.m. Federal government has declared Thursday, March 19 and Friday, March 20, 2026 as public holidays to mark the celebration of Eid al-Fitr. The Minister of Interior, Olubunmi Tunji Ojo, who made the declaration on behalf of the government in a statement issued to journalists on Tuesday, said the message conveyed through the ministry's permanent secretary Magdalene Ajani. The ministers congratulated Muslim faithful on the successful completion of the Ramadan fast. He urged Muslims to uphold the values of love, generosity, peace, tolerance, and sacrifice, which are central to the holy month, and also called on Nigerians to use the festive period to pray for peace, unity, and the continued prosperity of the country. He further encouraged citizens to celebrate responsibly and extend kindness to the less privileged, while reaffirming the government's commitment to national unity and peaceful coexistence. After I read all these things finished now, at the end of the day, And that's global news for tonight. Before we go and look at the major stories. Courts to hear suits against PDP chairman, April 14. Sholido sworn in for second term in office. Tinubu mourns Maiduguri bomb blast victims. Inflation hits 12.12% on households. Cuba earthquake magnitude hits 5.8. The Tigers captain Ogoke retires from national team. Comedians richer than musicians shank. I am Favour Chikwesiri Michael. Thank you for watching. You can follow us on social media handles on X, at Atlantic TV Net, on Facebook and YouTube at Atlantic Television Network, and on Instagram as Atlantic TV Network. And don't forget peace and unity are the pathway to progress. To have a wonderful night rest.